On Sunday afternoons, invite kids to take the field and line up next to the professional players at their positions. And Paul Molitor saying last night's win was maybe the best of the year. It gave him a little breathing room at the end. There haven't been many wins to begin with, certainly not many where they had a 5-run lead going to the last inning. And the Menards batting order for the Twins: Eduardo Nunez in the leadoff spot, then Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Byung-Ho Park, Robbie Grossman, Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, and Danny Santana.
They'll go up there against Wade Miley. Has had terrific success, especially the obviously the one-loss record, 5-2. He's won his last 5 games.
Northland Ford defense for the Mariners. Seth Smith is in left field. Nori Aoki is in center. Franklin Gutierrez in right. Seager, Sardinas, Cano, Lind, the infielders. And Steve Clevenger will do the catching for Wade Miley, winner of 5 straight decisions. Even though his ERA is 4.5, he's picked good nights to pitch. And he'll face Nunez, Dozier, and Mauer. And first pitch strike. Miley acquired from the Red Sox in the offseason, has stepped into the rotation and done a nice job. He's got a complete game shutout. Check swing and strike 2 to Nunez. He works fast and moves the ball around the strike zone. And a pitch lifted to left center field. Smith cutting over to make the catch, 1-away. Twins haven't faced much left-handed starting pitching this year. And when they have, it's been the likes of Chris Sale, people like that. But the Twins against left-handed starters are just 2-5. Brian Dozier's hit left-handers very well amidst all his problems offensively this year. Dozier's hitting .353 against lefties. And he takes up an away ball 1. Now that said, here we are, almost the end of the second month of the season. He's had only 17 at bats against left-handed pitching. And a strike, 1-1. And Miley with the Mark Burley approach to pitching as he hits the inside corner. Get the ball back from the catcher and look in for the sign. Let's go.
And we're going to see, like right there, we're going to see a little Pat Dean type of pitching from Wade Miley. Pat Dean last night moving the ball all around, in and out.
Popped up very high and over a beam and back into the seats.
To be effective, as it is the case with most left-handers who don't throw Chris Sale kind of velocity, you really have to work both sides of the plate. And if you're only working one side, big league hitters will get to you. Miley has got to work both sides, and especially the inside corner. That's what we saw Pat Dean do so well, and especially for a young guy like Dean. That was very impressive last night.
Down and away, 2-2. Dozier 1 for 5 last night, a double in the 5-run 3rd inning. And now a full count with Mauer on deck. Miley giving up a hit per inning pitch. Doesn't walk many people, just 13 walks, as I think you saw, with 56 innings pitched. And now time called. And a called 3rd strike. Dozier thought it was high, was ready to unbuckle and go to first. 2 away. Oh,
yeah, that ball's way up, and you can just tell on a breaking ball like that, every hitter will take that pitch knowing that it's high. It's just not a pitch, even though it's out of the strike zone. It's obviously a ball. A breaking ball up there just isn't called much, and that was it. That was an oops.
Joe Mauer, the batter. Inside, ball 1.
It's funny, hitters just get a sense in this when they're standing up there where the strike zone is, and that that pitch hitters will just take. They just know it's just not a strike. You can feel it even as much as see it. It's never called. Well, I guess that's not true.
It just was.
But it's hitter will stand up there and it's just a ball, and in your heart it's a ball.
3-0 now to Bauer with Sano on deck. Down the middle of strike. Bauer with a home run in the game last night.
Yeah, he hammered that ball to left center last night.
Pulled through the hole to right. Bauer with a single, and that'll get Sano to the plate with a man aboard. Sano tied for the team lead in home runs with 9.
Really like seeing this swing 3-1 from Joe. Just go ahead and look fastball, get the bat head out in front. Stays behind it beautifully. Like to see Joe pull the ball on fastball counts like that. You just set up to pull it and go ahead and let it go. See what happens.
Sano homered to left center, almost homered to right later in the ball game. Down and away, ball 1. Way out in front of the off-speed pitch, 1-1. Two. We saw the crowd about maybe 2/3 what it was last night when they had over 40,000 here. Mariners a first place ball club. 1-2 to Sano, and a drive to left field, and the Twins jump out in front. Sano clubbing one into the second deck.
Well, a big mistake by Wade Miley right there, and that's what I was talking about in the open of our show. Don't try to force it. Sano way out in front of the changeup for the first strike, cheating on a fastball a little bit too much, got it into a 2-strike situation, and a cookie showed up for him, and that went in the second. Watch where this ball is. It's a breaking ball right in the heart of the zone, and Miley really upset. He knew exactly, as soon as he let it go, he knew where that ball was going. He had thrown 2 really good pitches. Changeup down and away and a fastball up and in to get strikes, and then gave Sano a cookie with breaking ball right in the center with 2 strikes.
Here is Park. Just 2 for 16 against left-handers this year. And now 2-0. Foul back. Marty Foster wound up the home plate umpire to throw a new baseball back to Miley, and then he, in mid-delivery, thought, "Oh, I'll let the catcher do it." 2-1. So the foul. Now Foster will fire it back this time.
Boy, what catchers put up with.
Down and in, and it's 3-2 with Grossman on deck. Swing and a miss. And Miley picks up a couple of strikeouts, but between the Dozier and Park at bats, a Bauer single and a Sano home run, it's 2-0 Twins. 1 in the first inning with Mauer aboard, and the Twins jump out in front 2-0. Scott Servais is in his first year as the manager here in Seattle, off to a good start. They're pitching awfully well and scoring a bunch of runs. The Menards batting order tonight: Nori Aoki leading off, then Seth Smith, Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager, Adam Lind, Franklin Gutierrez, Steve Clevenger, and Luis Sardinas.
Phil Hughes on the mound, trying to right the ship a little bit here. Pitching a little bit better here lately. Trying to be ready here in the first or second inning. He's had trouble early in games, almost from the start of the season. His Achilles heel has been being ambushed early. We'll see if he can get through the lineup here quickly.
Happened in his last start too against the Blue Jays. 3 runs in the first, and then he settled down and completed 6 innings, gave up just those 3 runs, so technically a quality start. 2-0 to Aoki, and a drive to right field. Sano to the wall, leaping, and it is gone, a home run. And Hughes gives up another first inning run. First home run of the year for Aoki.
Well, he gets behind 2-0 and then comes right down the middle to a guy not known for being able to hit the ball out of the ballpark, or for hitting a lot of them out. Sano comes close.
Just out of his reach. In his last start against Toronto, Hughes was greeted by home runs from Bautista and Donaldson in the first 2 at bats. Strike 1 to Seth Smith. And there was another run given up in that first inning against the Blue Jays. 10th home run allowed this year by Hughes. 2 years ago, when he won 16 games, he only gave up 16 all year long.
The difference being that year when he won those 16 games and didn't give up very many home runs, he was pitching all around the perimeter of the zone. If you can imagine our Fox Tracks strike zone, he was pitching all around those lines of the perimeter of the zone, not in the middle. And last 2 years, he has pretty much lived in the middle of the strike zone. He throws a lot of strikes, and hitters know that. They go up ready to swing. He's lost a little bit of velocity and hasn't found the corners of the perimeters of the zone very well.
Breaking ball missing. 2-2. See how close Sano came. Just out of his reach. And nothing in the dugout for Aoki.
Silent treatment for a guy that doesn't hit many home runs.
And there's a called third strike. Hughes strikes out Smith, and that'll bring up Cano. That was Aoki's 25th major league home run in just over 2,000 at bats.
And this is what we're talking about right here. 2 years ago, a lot of that right there on the corner. Last year and so far this year, not so much. And just like we've been talking about these crafty left-handers, Miley and Pat Dean, the last couple of nights, Phil Hughes has to take a page out of their book. He's got to pitch that way now too. He's got to come in on his guys a lot more than he does. There's a good pitch.
It's a foul ball and strike 1 to Cano.
I wouldn't say that Phil Hughes' strong suit has ever been coming hard in on guys, and I really think that's going to be important for him to start establishing.
1 strike to Cano. That's to center, and Santana coming in to make the catch 2 away. That'll bring up Nelson Cruz. 10 home runs on the year, and an impressive one in batting practice. I watched the start of his round. I didn't see his last swing.
Oh my goodness, look at this ball. First time ever, they tell us.
Hit it out of the ballpark.
All the way out of the ballpark. That is a blast.
Saw him at.
I don't care if it is batting practice, Dick.
That's a long way.
That's a long way.
Two down after the leadoff home run by Aoki, and here is Cruz. Driving one foul down the right field line. Let's take a look at the Twins in the field. Of course, Robbie Grossman is in left field. Santana's made a catch in center. Sano almost made a catch in right. Nunez, Escobar, Dozier, Mauer, the infielder, Suzuki behind the plate for the second game of this series. Swinging a foul, and Suzuki takes a foul ball off the mask. So each catcher's been dinged here already in the first inning.
Oh. You know, that ball was fouled off, but it's not slowed down much. That's like taking a fastball right in the mask.
You can imagine the spin coming off the very top of the bat, and it hits the mask, and almost like it digs in. You know, it doesn't just bounce off. Ugh, they take a beating. 2 strikes to Cruz. And Hughes strikes out Cruz, gives up the leadoff home run. The Twins lead cut in half. It's 2-1 after 1. Paul Molitor said today we might see Sano at third base because Trevor Plouffe is going to miss some time. Encouraging news, the MRI revealed no damage to the MCL in the right knee. Plouffe left the ball game yesterday, and Paul said that if they need a replacement at third base, Sano would be on that list of candidates. But the hope is that a couple days of rest will allow things to heal, and Trevor will be back in the lineup. 1-0 to Robbie Grossman. Drive to center field. Aoki coming in, and he makes a running catch, one away. And we'll bring up Eduardo Escobar. Twins have had a tough time keeping the left side of the infield healthy. First it was Plouffe on the disabled list, and then about the time he came back, Escobar went on the disabled list. Now Escobar's back, Plouffe's out for a little bit. And it really underscores to me the importance of Eduardo Nunez being able to play those positions, but swinging it the way he is to give what little life the Twins have had in their lineup that life.
You bet. He's been invaluable.
Escobar takes over just off the inside corner, 1-1.
Acquitted himself very nicely defensively, even though he's not a regular player there, and really has been as good a hitter, if not the best hitter on the club.
Half swing and a strike. It's 1-2.
Talked with Trevor as we look at him there. Talked with him today. His relief very much in evidence. He was concerned. I know he was worried about it, and I saw him just when he come back and said, "Oh, it's a bone bruise. It's not the MCL." He was very relieved.
And bothering him for a few days, finally to the point where he had to come out yesterday. 1-2 to Escobar. Fouled off a foot. And Escobar drops the bat. We'll need a little time to recover from that one. A little bit longer time, and now Dave Prumer, the trainer, heading towards the top step. And now he and Paul Molitor will come out and check on Escobar.
Slider down and in. That oftentimes the right-handed hitter from a left-hander will hit over the top of it.
Off the back leg.
That was off the back leg. You don't see that as often. And there's nothing Dave Prumer, the trainer, can do. You go out there as a trainer, the trainer comes out and says, you know, it'll stop hurting here after a little while. Just wait.
11:30
It's going to stop barking here pretty soon. Just wait. You say, but Dave, it really hurts. He says, well, there's nothing we can do.
And Escobar, a foul tip, but Clevenger hangs on 2 away. 3 strikeouts already for Wade Miley. That'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. Miley got the first 2 outs of the first inning, no problem, and then Mauer delivered a single. Sano clobbered a home run. Suzuki struggling at the plate. Batting average is barely over 200, as you see, but really struggling against lefties. Just 2 for 19, and he takes strike 1. Face a right-hander tomorrow, and Juan Centeno very likely will do the catching tomorrow afternoon in the finale. Another strike taken, and it's 0-2. Right down the middle. So the Twins go down quickly in the second and have a 2-1 lead. To the bottom of the second inning, and our Coors Cold Hard Facts. Phil Hughes has enjoyed his starts here in Seattle. 4-1 with a microscopic 1.02 ERA. And they are just as lopsided the other way when he's faced the Mariners in his home ballparks. Strike 1 to Kyle Seager. Hughes had problems with the first inning run scoring and maybe a baby step in the right direction, giving up just one. Usually it's been 2 or 3 in the first inning. We'll see if he can get into a bit of a groove as he has over his last couple starts.
Well, he got behind 2-0 and gave up the home run on the fastball down the middle to Aoki, and since then he's really been good on the what I have been calling the perimeters of the strike zone. We haven't seen the ball in the middle of the plate again after that one.
We haven't seen many 93-mile-per-hour fastballs either. That one off target, but at 93. Breaking ball line to right. Now leadoff home run as Aoki delivered in the first inning, but Hughes ahead on the count. Seager cracked a single off of a breaking ball. And Adam Lind will hit next. Last night, Pat Dean was superb, working the ball around the strike zone, getting ahead of hitters, and showing more poise than you'd expect in his second major league start.
You bet. He was terrific. He was on the inside corner, on the outside corner, up and away, down and in. About as dominating performance against a good hitting team as we've seen in some time.
Here is Lind. Missing ball one. Talked with Pat briefly today. He said, yeah, he got a lot of texts and emails from phone calls from back home, which when you consider that by the time the Twins won the ball game last night, it was after midnight on the East Coast. So
well, good for them for staying up and watching. They were well rewarded. It was a fine effort. Got a shout out to Kurt Suzuki too. I thought he did a terrific job of calling that game. Pat, when he was talking with us, Dick, after the game, he said, you know, I don't think I shook Kurt off once, and for us to be talking about how he was working the ball all around the perimeters of the zone and never shook off his catcher, that means the catcher's doing a lot of great stuff back there.
2-0 to Lind. Swing and a miss. Statistically, the biggest problem for Hughes this year has been getting left-handed batters out. And the Mariners have 7 of them in the lineup. Aoki homered, Seager a left-handed batter. Single. Now Lind is up. Look at the split, almost a 100-point difference in batting average, lefties versus righties.
And again, I think pitching inside consistently will really help that. You have to be able to have something to get guys in a hurry so that you can throw something else. The only way to get him in a hurry is to pitch inside.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. He was a fly ball pitcher, but he's gotten 4 ground ball double plays this year. Only 1 stolen base attempt. It was successful. Two and 2 to Lind. And now full count. Gutierrez on deck. Seager with a short lead at first. He takes off, and it's ball 4. And tying runs at second base. Nobody out here in the second. Target Field suites are available for single game rental for groups of 16 to 150 plus. You can enjoy a climate controlled experience and a fantastic view of a Twins game with food and beverage included. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 833-TWINS. Schedule your suite at Target Field, where tonight Zach Brown band is performing at Target Field. Here is Gutierrez. Hit a home run to the opposite field in his first at bat last night. And Hughes falls behind 1-0. 24 pitches for Hughes, 14 strikes. Hughes gave up the 10th home run he's allowed this year. He's just issued his 10th walk of the season.
Gutierrez with a lot of power to right field. We saw that home run off of Pat Dean, ball down and away. Again, I think at some point in time Phil's going to have to go inside. He's trying to stay away, but there's the
base hit left field. Seager to third and loaded up with nobody out. Cracked his bat.
Yep.
But Gutierrez strong enough to muscle it over Escobar.
Pitcher won the battle, but the hitter gets rewarded. It got the ball in on him. Cracked his bat.
You can see where the target was. So
yep.
Suzuki set up away, and the ball came right over the inner half. Well, Hughes has faced 7 men, retired just 3. They're loaded up with nobody out, and here's Steve Clevenger. Clevenger, a journeyman backup catcher. And Hughes misses with a breaking ball. Parts of 3 years with the Cubs, parts of 3 years with the Orioles, now in his first year with Seattle. Twins playing the infield back. They'd love a ground ball double play here and concede the tying run. And there's a breaking ball for a strike.
That's really the only other pitch that Phil's got that's not pretty much the same kind of speed and plane. Fastball and cutter about the same plane.
And the Twins will get their double play, and the Mariners will get the tying run. Chopper to Escobar, to Dozier, to Mauer, and in from third base is Seager. It's 2 apiece.
That's exactly what they needed. The best play in the game as far as the pitcher is concerned. To get you out of a potentially huge inning. If he can limit the damage here to just the 1 run, that's a huge success. Get your club off the field, try to go get some more runs. But inning looked like it could turn out to be a disaster.
Here is Sardinas. Late on the fastball. Both of them up out of the strike zone.
We'll just keep throwing it there. I mean, if he's going to swing at it, just keep throwing it up there. At this point in time, a hitter's got to prove to the pitcher that he's not going to swing at it. He was swinging at him against Pat Dean last night as well.
92 and up, but this time a foul back. Hughes giving up a leadoff home run in the first and a leadoff single in the second that eventually came around to score. Trying to keep this a 2-2 game. Breaking ball in the dirt, dug out by Suzuki.
I like that pitch right there, down in the dirt. Throw that for a hope to get a swinging strike on a almost unhittable pitch. You don't want to throw an 0-2 strike with that breaking ball. Now he can come right back up after moving his eyes to that breaking ball speed. He probably can come right back upstairs with a fastball and get it.
Off the plate, and it's 2-2. Thirty-fifth pitch for Hughes in the ball game.
Cardinals.
And a fastball strikes out Sardinas. The Mariners get another one in the second to tie the game.
Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com.
FC fans of the game here to watch their Twins in a 2-2 game. Danny Santana will lead off the third inning. I ran into some Twins fans today. I went to one of my favorite haunts for lunch, and I use that word judiciously because I think the place is haunted. Saw some Twins fans from the Twin Cities, and I ran into some Twins fans who were here from Australia. They were actually in the Twin Cities for the Kansas City series and came out here on their way home to Australia. They're religious Twins and Minnesota sports fans, and wonderful to meet those folks. 3-0 to Danny Santana, and that might be a terrible mistake for Wade Miley. Santana has just 2 hits in 20 at bats as a right-handed batter, and Miley put his speed aboard on 4 pitches. And now more speed at the plate in Nunez.
Tough for switch hitters oftentimes to get it going the same way from both sides. Danny swinging the bat very well left-handed, not so well right-handed. I was talking to Robbie Grossman about that before the game too, switch hitter to switch hitter. And he's an interesting guy in that he grew up throwing left-handed and batting right-handed. He said he went to his dad at one point in time. So what were you thinking? That's weird to do it this way.
And they've got Santana picked off, and he'll be tagged out. So Santana not on board for long, with Miley picking him off. That takes care of the 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Danny was looking at. I don't even think that was Miley's best move right there.
Swing and a miss by Nunez. Yeah, I talked with Grossman too. He said he didn't start switch hitting till age 17. That's pretty late in the game, isn't it?
It is. It is a little late in the game for a guy that's not a real speed burner type slap and run guy. A lot of times you see guys who are real good runners. They'll start hitting left-handed, right-handed hitters. They'll start hitting left-handed, slap and run type. But 17's a little late for a guy that's a little bit stronger hitter.
And he swings and fouls 1 and 2.
Robbie Grossman. He said he always was a really good right-handed hitter, and so when he started hitting left-handed, he didn't struggle so much with most of us switch hitters. Nunez fouls another one out. Most of us switch hitters see so many right-handed pitchers growing up that you get really comfortable left-handed and you have a hard time getting your swings in right-handed. I said, do you worry about that getting enough? He said, no, I've always been a much better hitter right-handed. I don't worry about the getting the extra swings nearly as much.
Splintered bat, and the barrel is stuck in the grass between home plate and the mound. Nunez will get a base hit. Yikes. And Nunez is aboard with a 1-out single. We'll bring up Brian Dozier.
Right off the end of the bat, big hand cartwheeling out there and sticking in the ground.
They don't make jarts anymore. Didn't somebody determine that long game was too dangerous?
I'll tell you what, I don't know why they would allow that. That just looks dangerous to me. They're throwing those
mini javelin throwing,
big javelins around. Here, you guys stand down here next to this circle. Let me throw a javelin at you and see if we don't hit you and we get it in the circle. I never got that.
Nunez hopes not to get picked off. That was fun though. You played jarts,
didn't you? I did.
The big plastic fins.
Yep, it worried me. I played it, but it worried me.
Dozier, a strikeout victim in the first, and he takes strike one. Mentioned Dozier has been very good against left-handed pitching, but Miley got him his first time up.
Yeah, umpire got him his first time up.
And Nunez casually gets back to the bag.
I wonder if Paul Molitor would play a little hit and run here. 1 out, 1-1 count. It's a pretty kind of the baseball handbook count here.
Forcing Dozier to try to hit the ball to the right side.
Well, not only that, but guys not swinging the bat real well, as Brian hasn't been. It forces you to stay on the ball. It's your job to make contact. I think the reason Paul wouldn't do it, there are two. One, he's already seen that Miley pick off one guy, so he's worried a little bit about that. And Dozier, as you said, is swinging the bat pretty well against left-handers, so maybe you let Brian hit.
Inside. Well, if it's on the ground to the right side, it's pretty much guaranteed to be a base hit anyway.
Right.
And Nunez would end up at third base, perhaps.
I think if it had been a right-handed pitcher out there, Paul might have, with good speed at first, I think Paul might have considered that.
2-2 to Dozier. Flare, short right center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. No, Dozier didn't beat the infield shift, but he beat the outfield shift. With the center fielder Aoki pulled over into the gap a little bit, he couldn't get there, and neither could Gutierrez.
The ball got in on Brian just a little bit, a breaking ball, but like Gutierrez, able to muscle the ball into the outfield where, as Willie Keeler said, hit them where they ain't.
Mauer grounded a single to right with 2 outs in the first and scored on a Sano home run. Paul Molitor was saying Mauer's home run last night, which went into the bullpen area about 380 some feet from home plate, was Joe's best swing of the year.
Yeah, no question. I agree with that. It's a great swing.
Mauer trying to bunt for a hit, and it's strike one.
So if you're gonna bunt for a hit with the shift the way it is, you really don't need to be in as big a hurry as Joe was right there. You know, now watch this. He squares around and he starts going a little bit early. Starts jabbing at it. You can stay right there, let the ball hit the bat, put it in the right spot, and walk to first base against that shift. Guys just get a little bit antsy when they see that opportunity. And Joe, not normally a bunter, and so I really think that with the way teams are shifting these days, I think part of your batting practice ought to be imagining that all you have to do is lay the ball down at where the third baseman normally play. Get really good at that. They're just giving you base hits out there.
Dribbled up the line, and Mauer will be retired with Lynn tagging him, and no protest from Joe. Runners move up. There'll be runners at second and third with 2 down and first base open.
That was a heck of a play by Lind. It looked like Joe was going to get by him without being touched, and Lind kind of threw his glove back behind his body and got Joe running by. It looks to me right here like Joe's going to be safe, and Lind really made a little pirouette tag, and evidently got him. Joe didn't argue with it, so I guess he touched him.
Outside ball 1. The play is not reviewable because it's in front of the umpires, so that might. We'll take another look right here. Just got his sleeve,
yep.
I guess. 1-0 to Sano, remembering that first base is open, and there's another pitch off a plate. 2-0. Byung Ho Park is on deck, and now they will go ahead and walk Sano. This is where the Twins hope that eventually this 4-5 punch right-handed power Sano and Park would make Scott Service and the other managers think twice about doing that. But for that to happen, Park's got to start picking things up here a little bit. And Miguel Sano with a lot of home run power, 7 of them in the last 2.5 weeks.
Well, it happens with home run hitters. They come in bunches. They get in a streak, and those streaks are usually compounded by the fact that pitchers get the ball in the middle of the zone for whatever reason. And Miguel Sano is one thing that's terrific about him. He'll hit mistakes.
Inside now to Park.
It's the other thing that Byung Ho Park has done really well early in the season. He was a little bit overmatched, but when a pitcher made a mistake, he made him pay. He's been struggling here lately. The biggest difference has been not so much the fact that he's hit tough pitches, but that he hasn't hit the ones that the cookies that he was hitting earlier. He's just been, his mechanics have been a little bit messed up.
Struck out on a fastball in the first inning. Big spot here for Park. Twins would like to get something out of this. They've taken 2 walks and gotten a couple of hits, but so far no runs. Inside 2-0. This is where a guy who's hit over 50 home runs, granted in a different league each of the last 2 years, and you can imagine in South Korea he feasted in counts like this. 2-0. 3-0. He takes up high.
Riley wondering where that is, and that pitch was, and it was lower than the one that Ryan Dozier was called out on. So it wasn't a good pitch from a pitcher's standpoint, a kind of a high breaking ball, but I can understand why Miley wanted it to be was called a strike.
3-0 to Byung Ho Park. And a strike. Up to 94 miles per hour to get a foul ball. Counts full, bases full with 2 out.
You see everything up in the strike zone. We showed you that just a second ago. I think that's the word on Park. They want up in the strike zone.
Called third strike. Park backed away and took it over the inside corner. Twins threaten, leave the bases full. Don't score. It's still 2-2. And on Friday, some of the world's biggest soccer stars converge on the United States for the 100th anniversary of the Copa America. It all starts as USA takes on Colombia Friday at 7 p.m. Central on FS1, or you can watch the entire tournament live on Fox Sports Go. Nori Aoki leading off the third. He takes up high, ball one. Aoki hammered a 2-0 pitch just out of Sano's reach over the wall and right for a leadoff home run in the first. And now Hughes falls behind him again, 2-0. Hughes would like to get the leadoff man out. He gave up the leadoff homer in the first, leadoff single in the second. Both batters scoring, and now it's 3-0. Juan Centeno is catching for the Twins. Kurt Suzuki took a foul ball in the second inning and is not out there now to catch the third. And 3-1.
He took a foul ball in the mask and then took 3 straight balls pitches when he was hitting right down the middle, and it really looked like something was bothering him. That's very uncharacteristic.
And now a leadoff walk in the third. And for Hughes, the second walk issued in the ball game already. That'll bring up Smith. Smith called out on strikes his first time up. Hughes has faced 10 batters and retired just 5. Missing inside, ball one. Pitches, 23 strikes for Hughes. Just 5 first pitch strikes in his 11 plate appearances. Fouled into the seats. I mentioned last night the Twins have won the season series between these two teams in each of the last 3 years. Impressive win last night over King Felix, thanks to Pat Dean on the right. Ricky Nolasco will pitch tomorrow. One and one to Seth Smith. Cutter gets a swing and a miss. Will pull up at second base. Mariners loaded the bases with nobody out in the second. Only got 1 run because of a ground ball double play. And now first and second, nobody out. And Cano coming to the plate.
Well, you look at the body of work for Robinson Cano. These numbers since 2007, just unbelievable. Leads Major League Baseball in games played. And Tim Lauder and I were talking about this on our production call, Dick, as you were on. Just remarkable that this guy goes out there and plays game after game. He averages 157, 158 games a year out of the 162, maybe more than that. All-star player, great player, and plays. He goes out there and plays.
Down and in, ball one.
And he has one of my favorite swings in baseball. Leans back over his back leg, gets behind his swing, and then if you watch his front side, his front arm is never chicken winging up. His elbow never flies. He's hitting down through the baseball so well.
1-1. In his third year with the Mariners, and the numbers really suggest that he's given the Mariners everything that he gave the Yankees statistically, getting a chance to work with one of the best right-handed hitters I've ever seen, Edgar Martinez.
Boy, would that be fun. work with that man. What a hitter Edgar Martinez was.
1-1 to Cano. 2-1. In his great career with the Yankees, Cano hit just over 300. In his 2 years with Seattle, he's hit on the button 300, just a few ticks below that here this year. But 43 runs batted in. And now 3-1. Hughes is really struggling with his control. Here we are in the third inning, and Taylor Rogers is warming up. Hughes gave up the leadoff home run in the first, came back and got the next 3 guys, 2 of them by a strikeout, filled the bases in the second with nobody out. Now a rough start to the third inning.
You look where Phil's been. He's trying to throw the ball low, but he just can't get in the strike zone. Got a little help from Cano there. Looked like ball 4. Guy's got 43 RBIs already this early in the season. He doesn't want to walk with 2 guys out there. 3-1. He's looking for a fastball to drive. He got the fastball and just didn't want to lay off of it. You see he's second in the American League only to the remarkable David Ortiz.
Full count, nobody out. Mariners threatening here in the third. We've seen from Hughes is what diminished velocity he has really diminishes inning by inning. In other words, in the first inning we saw a fastball 93 and that one was clocked at 90. When you get situations like this, you want to be able to reach back, maybe put a little extra on the ball. Breaking ball misses and they're loaded up again. Second inning in a row where the bases are loaded with nobody out. In the second inning he was facing Steve Clevenger. Here in the third he'll face Nelson Cruz. Eric Rasmussen, the interim pitching coach, making a quick trip to the mound. Rasmussen, the minor league pitching coordinator, promoted to fill Neil Allen's vacancy. Allen suspended with pay pending the outcome of a suspicion of a DWI charge.
Really not a lot to say right there. Veteran pitcher and Eric Rasmussen going out there. Oftentimes a pitching coach will just go out and say, okay, how are you going to pitch this guy, just to get something positive out of the pitcher. Okay, tell me what you're going to do. Tell me how you're going to try to pitch it. Try to get something real positive going in the mind of the pitcher, because there's not a whole lot to say to try to fix somebody.
Popped up right side. Infield fly rule should be called. And it is. Cruz is out, and that was a pretty good trip to the mound. He can't go out there again, can he? Kyle Seager will bat. And he might later this inning.
He certainly can. He won't leave without bringing his pitcher with him if he does, but he can.
Cruz pops up, leaving the bases full, and now Seager, who's singled in the second inning. Again, Cruz is 0 for 2. He's a right-handed batter. The problem for Hughes all year long has been getting lefties out. Right. Now he's got a dangerous lefty in the box with the bases full and 1 out.
Who has been awfully hot himself here of late.
Takes strike 1. Aoki drew a leadoff walk. Smith singled. Cano walked. Third, a foul ball, and Nunez tracks it, makes the catch, and Aoki can't advance. 2 away. Good play by Eduardo Nunez.
Really good play and a big out. Phil making a pretty good pitch there when he needed to, on the outside corner, and Eduardo Nunez running it down, back over his head. That's a tough play. That ball right over your head like that, and it's spinning back toward the infield with the spin off a left-hand hitter's bat. Nice play by Nunez.
Hughes so close to getting out of this mess. Now he's got to get Lind. Walked his first time up. Popped up. On 4 pitches, 3 pop-ups, and the Mariners leave the bases full. We are still tied at 2.
And a great trip to the mound by Eric Rasmussen.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
2 apiece. Somehow the Twins have kept this a tie game. Mariners have had bases loaded, nobody out situations in each of the last 2 innings and have just 1 run to show for it. And the leadoff man here in the 4th against Wade Miley will be Robbie Grossman. Hit a liner to center his first time up. Grossman, Escobar, and Suzuki here in the Twins 4th. Swing and a foul. Sadly, the Twins aren't primarily involved in it, but boy, we've got a great American League Central race going, and a bit of a turnover today, in fact. Cleveland Indians right now are leading the American League Central. White Sox had a crushing defeat. They gave up 7 runs in the 9th inning to the Royals and lost a ball game. Check swing. And so right now Cleveland is leading. Kansas City percentage points ahead of Chicago, who now have lost 5 games in a row. And now 3-1 to Grossman.
And unfortunately for Kansas City, they're losing players.
Oh my gosh,
games.
Salvador Perez today is going to have an MRI
sad.
done. Already without Moustakas and Gordon. Grossman looks at Marty Foster. And the count is full.
And it's so funny. Sometimes Brian Dozier's called 3rd strike in the 1st inning. That one's hitters look at. You're not supposed to get changeups. You know pitchers don't want to throw the ball up there. That's not where they're trying to throw it. And so you see it up there and you say, that's a terrible pitch. I'm not going to swing at it. You hate to have it called a strike. The pitcher makes such a terrible pitch like that. And there's ball 4. Well,
T-Mobile with greater coverage of baseball. And Devin Travis just called up, and Toronto with a dramatic win over the Red Sox. An RBI single. Drew Butera got a big hit for the Royals right before Eibner did. And Danny Valencia slugging home runs for the A's. We'll get a look at Valencia and the A's on Memorial Day.
Danny Valencia been hot.
Yes.
Down there in Oakland.
Here is Escobar, struck out swinging his first time up. The last 3 half innings. Well, that's not true. Santana walked, and then the Twins got a couple of hits, eventually filled the bases. I was going to say the last 3 half innings have seen the teams get the bases loaded, nobody out, and only 1 run scored. Up and away, ball 1. It'll be Escobar and then Centeno, who will make his first plate appearance in place of Kurt Suzuki. Popped up down the right field line. Very long run for Gutierrez. Crossing the line, almost overran it, but he made the catch, 1 away. And that'll bring up Centeno. Twins making a change behind the plate early. Last night they had to make a change at third base when Plouffe left the game because of a knee issue. We haven't received word yet on Kurt Suzuki and why he left the ball game, but if you watch the first couple innings you can hazard a guess.
Well, don't know if it was because of the shot he took in the mask, but it clearly stung him quite a bit.
Centeno takes ball 1. A couple of hits in 9 at bats against lefties. And now 2-0.
Centeno had already been told he's got the game tomorrow against Taijuan Walker.
74 pitches for Miley and only 40 strikes. Striking the outside corner. Twins having beaten their third former Cy Young Award winner of the season last night in Felix Hernandez. Hoping to feed off of that. Have a good road trip here. When they beat Dallas Keuchel earlier this year, they proceeded to lose their next 8 games. They're hoping to gain a little momentum and, simply put, just play better baseball than they have so far in the first 2 months of the season. That ball driven foul behind Gene Glenn.
Good two-strike protect swing there by Centeno, battling the left-hander.
Twins also beat Corey Kluber, and they did so largely because of Centeno's home run against Kluber in Cleveland. He's battling Miley.
Yeah, I like this young man a lot. He's a tough out up there at the plate. He really is. He makes it throw the ball in the strike zone for the most part. Doesn't get too far out in front of off-speed pitches with 2 strikes. Has to wait a long time and see the ball. He's a tough out.
And another foul ball. Not only put together a good 1-loss record for the Mariners, he's also eaten innings. He's won his last 5 starts, or decisions I should say. And a good check swing take by Centeno. And in his last 6 starts he's gone at least 6 innings in every start, but now you're looking at 80 pitches here, and he's only got 1 man out in the 4th inning.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Wade Miley, but it's clear that he tries to expand the zone, tries to make hitters chase the ball off the plate. The Twins have really done a fairly good job of not doing that. Grossman goes. Talking about Centeno being a tough out at the plate, there's a great substantiation of that. How Paul Molitor feels about him against Centeno against a left-handed pitcher, sending Grossman with one out.
10th pitch of this at bat.
Feels like Centeno will put the bat on the ball.
And another foul with Grossman taking off again.
That's a pretty big compliment, actually, for a manager to have a lefty-on-lefty situation right here and go ahead and send the runner feeling that Centeno's either going to take ball 4, or if it's a strike, he's going to put the ball in play somewhere and not swing through it and take it.
Sardinas came in to chat with Miley for a little bit. Finally a jam shot and a roller to first with Grossman taking off. He moves into scoring position for Danny Santana. Follow Twins Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Twins. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Santana drew a walk, even though he was just 2 for 20 against as a right-handed batter against lefties, and one of those 2 a bunt single, the other one a big 2-run double. Swing and a miss.
Danny's timing's messed up right-handed. You can tell by how long his swing is. It's a lot longer, slower, laggier swing right-handed right now than when he's going well.
Now 0-2. Santana walked and then was picked off immediately in the 3rd inning. Twins left the bases full in the 3rd, trying to get Grossman in with the go-ahead run. Here's a drive deep down the left field line, but foul. Still 1-2. They have made the man work. Had a quick 2nd inning, and that's been it. And foul into the seats. Yikes. Many empty seats near the on-deck circle on that liner. We do not have the extended screen here at Safeco Field like we have at Target Field. And Miley delivered that pitch right where Clevenger wanted it. Santana got a piece of it. Trying to take advantage of the leadoff walk. Grossman's at 2nd with 2 down. There you go. Off-speed pitch down and away. Grossman left at 2nd, and we are still tied at 2. The Ferris wheel you see on the left side of your screen there, just
Did you go
added
on
a few
that?
years ago. I have not. I'm a big Ferris wheel guy. I like going on them, but that's kind of the same type of thing they have at Navy Pier in Chicago. Big Ferris wheel.
I don't think I've ever heard that phrase.
What's that?
I'm a big Ferris wheel guy.
Well, it's wonderful.
That's
It
what is it that you like about it?
metaphorically much like life. You go up, you go down. The view is good. It's not so good. You know. One strike to Franklin Gutierrez. You don't like Ferris wheels?
Well, I don't have anything against them necessarily. I just think being a big Ferris wheel guy, it just might be a little,
There.
overstated, or else
Why would you not want to ride that thing?
boring as all get out. If you say I'm a big Ferris wheel guy, holy cow.
Well, you like the octopus or the tilt-a-whirl, something like that?
No, don't like that.
2 strikes. And up high. 1 and 2.
In any event, the scenic that we just saw right there, just a great example of how beautiful this city is. It's
This is
one
fantastic.
of the most beautiful cities in America, no question about it. And the best way to view it is on a big Ferris wheel.
Fouled back. Gutierrez singled in the 2nd inning. Hughes has really had to work out a couple of messy innings. Gave up a leadoff home run in the 1st, but then the next 2 innings started with bases loaded, nobody out. And the Mariners got just 1 run out of that. On the ground, and a leadoff man will reach again here in the 4th. Gutierrez aboard with a leadoff single. And will bring up Clevenger.
Phil really fighting to find something else to go with that fastball. The hanging a breaking ball right there with 2 strikes. Not the spot, the pitch, or the spot that he wanted it.
Clevenger, the batter, bounced into a double play his last time up. The 2nd Seattle run scored on the ground ball to Escobar. Hughes got out of the bases loaded situation in the 2nd with ground balls. He got out of the situation in the 3rd with pop-ups. Swing and a foul. Typically what we've seen from Hughes is he'll struggle in the first couple innings and then get into some semblance of a rhythm. I guess it's hard to do that when the leadoff man is on every inning. And that gets by Centeno. And that will allow Gutierrez to go to 2nd base. Just a pass ball.
Yep, just poorly received there. Just hit him in the heel of the glove. Of course, it was on the opposite side of the plate that he was calling for it, but not too tough a pitch to catch. It didn't look like.
1-1 to Clevenger. That is to center field and down for a hit. Gutierrez will be held at 3rd. Now Santana overruns the baseball. Here's his throw to the plate. Everybody safe. Gutierrez scores. Manny Acta had successfully stopped him, and Santana looked up and left the baseball behind him.
Well, a bit of sloppiness here. First of all, the ball not hit very hard. Off the handle of the bat, just dunked into center field. Danny charging it well. And then takes his, you can see him peek just a little bit, take his eye off, and then does hit the cutoff man, but he had the batter runner just absolutely hung out to dry. Clevenger was halfway to 2nd base. If he throws the ball to 2nd base, at least get an out at it. There's no way he's going to throw the guy at home after overrunning it like that.
Here is Sardinas. In the air, foul, a strike. Number 9 batter will try to perhaps bunt, at least through one means or another, get Clevenger to 3rd base. Hughes has given up base hits to the first two batters again here in the fourth. 17 batters faced, and he's only retired 8 of them. There's a bunt. And Hughes gets Sardinas for the first out of the inning. Clevenger to third base. A sacrifice for the shortstop. And that'll bring up Aoki. Saw Taylor Rogers warming up in the third inning. So far, the Twins bullpen is idle. Twins will bring the infield in for Aoki here in the fourth inning. A home run just over the wall and right in the first, and then he drew a walk in the third. Strike one. Tried to frame it. 1-1. Trying to get Sano's attention in right field. Hopped up. And Centeno comes back to the screen, but it's out of play. I think they wanted Sano to come in a little bit. And Nunez pointing into the dugout and also pointing out to right field. Not shallower, but more toward the gap.
Toward the gap, yep. He was, Sano was raising his gloves. He would tell me where should I play?
Hughes could use a strikeout. 1-2 to Aoki. Aoki will try to step that off. Tough strikeout, and right now might be wishing that he had swung and missed.
So you wear that shin guard to protect your shin, and then you hit the top of your arch there. Not easy to miss the shin guard, but he's able to do it. Now pound it right in on the inside corner. Come right back in there. His front foot barking like that. Throw it. Only going to go away. I like it in.
Base hit. And that'll score Clevenger. It's 4-2. Aoki's reached all 3 times. And the struggles for Phil Hughes continue.
He's a slap hitter, and he likes the ball out over the plate with 2 strikes. I think you're kind of playing into his game right there, keeping the ball away.
It's been kind of a sloppy inning, too.
Yep.
With a pass ball and an error, but Hughes has gotten just 1 out, and that came on the one the Mariners gave him on the sacrifice bunt. Here is Smith. On the outside corner, a strike. 20 plate appearances, 13 first pitch strikes. Smith called out on strikes in the first, and then he singled to help fill the bases in the third. High fly center field, and Santana ranging out toward the warning track. Makes the catch. Aoki will try to tag, and the throw a little bit off target. It might have been in time, but a deep enough fly ball to send Aoki to second base, 2 away. And that'll bring up Cano. Cano with a fly ball to center and a walk. They just made the announcement here in the press box that Kurt Suzuki was taken out of the game because of concussion-like symptoms, but no swings and misses. He went through the concussion protocol and passed all the tests, and then the statement that he, of course, is day to day. One strike to Robinson Cano. Inning started with a pair of hits. Both of those runners have scored.
First base open here, even though Nelson Cruz is on deck. I think with a hitter like Robinson Cano, you really don't give in and throw him anything in the center of the zone. He made a real good pitch with a breaking ball down and in, got a strike. But I think that's the way you got to approach this at bat. Let's see if Cano get himself out on something nasty.
Pulled foul, 2 strikes.
It really is kind of a pick your poison between Cano and Cruz. Cruz certainly capable of hitting a 3-run home run if you put Cano on by pitching carefully, but Cano's hot. Hughes has trouble with left-handers. I think you just don't give him anything.
Hot ground ball, and Dozier scoops it up, flips to Mauer, and that'll end the 4th inning. Mariners take a lead. They score a couple in the 4th, on to the 5th. Seattle in front. Beautiful sunset from this beautiful American city. The 4th, neither starting pitchers had a particularly good night here so far. Wade Miley out there to pitch to the Twins in the 5th. To face Nunez, Dozier, and Mauer.
Oh my.
A blast to left, and that cuts the Mariner lead in half. Nunez drives his 5th home run into the 2nd level.
He is hot, swinging the bat really well. Every approach to every pitch is really solid for Eduardo Nunez right now, and has been for most of the season. Watch this, watch the big end of the bat above the ball, a high fastball. That's a beautiful swing right there. That's a Robinson Cano kind of swing right there. Beautiful.
And now Dozier, and he takes low, ball 1. You know, when you watch the game on TV and you look at the monitor, you very quickly conclude that nothing good happens if the catcher has to move his glove. You know, you saw Clevenger wanted it down and away, and he moved the glove up just about 6-8 inches, but that's all it took. And of course, he never caught the ball. Dozier takes outside, and it's 2-1. And that, I guess, triggers, at least with me, the thought of what we saw last night from Pat Dean. Suzuki didn't have to move the glove much.
Not much.
If he set up inside, the ball was inside. If he set up outside, the ball was outside, never over, or rarely over the middle of the plate. And if he missed off the plate.
Right. That was the beauty of Pat Dean's performance, as Dozier takes ball forward, tying runs aboard here in the 5th inning. But Pat Dean, you're absolutely right. When you miss further toward the spot you're trying to hit, meaning inside corner, miss inside. Outside corner, you either hit it or you miss off the plate away. And that's what Pat did the whole night, really, with only one exception. I only remember one pitch that I would say that he wished he hadn't thrown. That was a little 0-2 breaking ball right in the middle of the plate to Aoki. But other than that, boy, he was good.
Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, comes to the mound. Miley's not done well. He gave up the two-run home run to Sano in the first. Did fine in the second, but he issued a leadoff walk and somehow survived not giving up a run in the third. Another leadoff walk in the fourth, and in essence a leadoff walk here in the 5th after the Nunez home run. Here is Mauer. Strike one. Mauer singled and scored in the first, grounded a single to right, and trotted home on the Sano home run. Because Dozier hasn't been on base nearly as much as he or the Twins would like, one of his abilities, one of his talents, pretty much gone unnoticed. He has just 2 steals on the year in 2 tries. Santana was picked off in the 3rd, and on that pitch, Dozier was heading back to first base. 1-1. Twins as a team, 31 for 40.
There hasn't been anybody get to first base that hasn't been a little bit confused about Miley's move so far.
A high fly to left field. Smith going back. Mauer has another one. And the Twins take the lead. Nunez with a solo shot, and now Mauer with a 2-run home run.
Well, we mentioned that Paul Molitor thought his home run to left last night was one of his best swings of the year. This one was excellent too. Fastball down and a little bit away, just goes with it.
That'll be the end of the ball game for Miley, who was given a 2-run lead, and he'll come off the field having not retired a batter in the 5th. Twins with 3 more home runs in the ball game tonight. They've got a lead, and now they're getting into the Mariner bullpen, which has been very, very good for them this year, but the Twins lead at 5-4. last night. Twins gave up a first inning run, but Sano homered. Twins answered right away, and it's happened so many times against them this year. Well, the Mariners, in kind of deflating fashion, get a couple of runs in the bottom of the fourth, but Twins go deep twice immediately in the fifth inning. They answer. They've got the lead, and the Mariners will go to their bullpen first. Mike Montgomery comes out of the pen. And very impressive numbers for Mike Montgomery.
Yeah, I always like to look at the strikeouts per walk per innings pitched. Of course, a very low opponent batting average, and when you also factor in the fact he's not walking a lot of guys, that will lead to a lot of success.
Down and away, ball one. Sano clobbered a 2-run home run in the first, drew a walk, an intentional walk, to fill the bases in the third. Now 2-0. So much was made about the trade the Royals made with the Rays a couple of years ago, because the Royals got James Shields, gave up Will Myers. Wade Davis also a part of that trade, going to Kansas City. Well, it wasn't just Will Myers. It was Jake Odorizzi going from Kansas City, and also Montgomery. Finally broke through at the big league level last year with the Mariners. Sano takes a strike, 2-2. Mariners gave up Erasmo Ramirez to get Montgomery. Swung on and missed. Speed pitch. Sano strikes out. Been a good week for Joe Mauer with 3 opposite field home runs.
Well, healthy again. The mechanics good again. He's keeping his head real still, and he's got his strength back. He's got his legs underneath him. That ball right there was a beautiful swing. The one last night, 380 feet to the opposite gap, and then again tonight. 3 almost carbon copies.
Park retired out number 2, grounding out to short. And now Robbie Grossman. Carsoup.com trivia question. With the Twins up a run, who holds the single season record for most home runs by a player born in South Korea? Grossman, the batter, a liner to center, caught, and then a walk, got as far as second base in the fourth. Strike one.
I tell you, I haven't seen Montgomery, but you get a big, tall left-hander that can throw 95 or 96. You got to take a chance on him, that's for sure. And he's throwing hard. He's got a little breaking ball there, hard slider, and looked like a changeup he struck Sano out with.
Made 16 starts for the Mariners last year, converted to a reliever this year. 1-1 to Grossman. Breaking ball off the plate. Foul back. Grossman strikes out looking. Nunez jumped on the first pitch. He saw a club a home run, a walk and a home run later, and the Twins are back in front. Nunez and Mauer with fifth inning home runs, and now Phil Hughes, who's had a very unsettling outing so far here tonight, will pitch to the middle of the Seattle lineup for the third time. Cruz, Seager, and Lind. High fly center field, and Santana comes in a few steps. One away.
Well, Phil struggled with his control. There's no question about it. And yet, at the same time, he's been able to make enough pitches on the perimeter of the strike zone, like that one there on the outside part of the plate, that allowed the Mariner hitters to get themselves out.
Cruz is the first leadoff batter that Hughes has retired, and now Seager.
These three guys do up this inning. Cruz, Seager, and Lind really had a chance to put the game away for the Mariners against the struggling Phil Hughes. And we talk about really quality at bats. I would say that Edgar Martinez is over there in the Mariner dugout, not thinking that that his run producers had the best at bats that inning.
Right.
He popped up three balls on about 4 pitches. Not good pitches to hit.
I think it's the second time Seager's gotten a base hit on a broken bat.
Well, there's been 3 broken bat hits now that I can count, maybe 4, and I actually think that Phil should stay with that, just because guys end up getting base hits on that. This impresses guys. It's one of the reasons why all the hitters on the bench see that he's pitching, throwing the ball inside, he's breaking bats. Now guys have gotten hits, but I also think it's a reason guys are trying to pull the ball and swinging at balls on the outside part of the plate and popping them up. They see that Phil's willing to come inside, and I think he needs to keep doing that, and then don't give up on the curveball.
Adam Lind, the batter. The broken bats to the left-handed, broken bat hits to the left-handed batters all seem to be on the cutter that kind of cuts in on the handle of the bat. Lind has walked and fouled out to the catcher, leaving the bases full in the third. Down and away, 1-1. Broken bat, nice pickup, and the ball not received by Dozier. Everyone is safe. With the shift, Dozier had to scamper toward the bag, and Nunez made a nice pickup, but as he turned, no one was near the bag yet.
Breaks another bat with a nice little sinker on the outside corner. Again, set up by that first strike on the inside part of the plate, but Brian is playing so far off the bag that when Escobar makes a nice backhanded play, he really has no place to throw it. Seager beating Dozier to the bag.
So an infield hit for Lind, and here's Gutierrez, who has a couple of singles.
One of those being of the broken bat variety.
And the Mariners are out hitting the Twins 9-6. Hughes hasn't been sharp, but he's also not been the luckiest pitcher in the world out there with the broken bat hits. Centeno dropped a near strike behind the plate for a pass ball. Santana overran a ball in center field. Tying run at second, 1 away. 1-0 to Gutierrez. Now 2-0.
Well, Phil's been in trouble the whole game, but it hasn't been because the Mariners have been knocking the ball all over the yard. You're right. They've been broken bat hits, a walk, some sloppy play. So far, without his best command, he's figuring out a way to navigate around all this stuff.
Popped up center field. And Santana drifting back. Over the track, makes the catch, and the throw not towards second base at all, so both runners will move up. Runner at first, Lynn, watching Santana's throw. And throw a little bit offline. Both runners move up.
Well, it was a great mound visit by the interim pitching coach, Eric Rasmussen. Bases loaded, nobody out. At the heart of the order coming up, big RBI guys. He gets a pop-up from Nelson Cruz. A pop-up and a really nice play by Eduardo Nunez to get the second out. And then he popped up Adam Lynn to get out of that.
And Phil Hughes will be unable to complete 5 innings. Going 4 2/3 with the tying run at third, go-ahead run at second. And with Clevenger due up, it'll be Taylor Rogers coming in to try to get the Twins off the field with the lead. About the developments here in the 5th inning, and 1 out short of qualifying for a potential win. He has to yield to Taylor Rogers, who's been really good, and he'll be facing a left-handed hitting catcher in Clevenger.
Taylor Rogers has been really good. Big sweeping breaking ball that has really been effective. You see it right here, and I imagine that Clevenger is going to see a little bit of that too. There it is.
And a called strike. Clevenger with just 1 at bat against a lefty. He's 0 for 1. One and one. Missing the inside corner. 2 and 1. Three and 1. Martinez on deck.
Obviously, this is the guy that Paul Molitor wants Rogers to get. Left-hander on left-hander, and a guy that doesn't hit against left-handed pitching. This is the guy he wants.
And a strike to fill the count.
You might get him with a fastball. If he can throw that sweeping breaking ball over, he will get it.
Got him with a breaking ball. Rogers strands 2. And the Twins head to the 6th inning up a run. Big strikeout for Taylor Rogers.
Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle, where you could win $100 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Montgomery came on in relief in the 5th inning and got the 3 men he was asked to get. Now he'll start the 6th. Facing switch hitter Eduardo Escobar, then left-hand hitting Centeno, and then switch hitting Danny Santana. First pitch, drilled to left. And Escobar hitting .364 as a right-handed batter, tees off on the first pitch here in the 6th. We were talking earlier about Grossman, and as we both discovered today, he started switch hitting late at age 17. But I've always marveled at switch hitters, when you played, because of it's hard enough to hit one way. How in the world, and I've talked to Chili Davis and others, and they say it's a never-ending battle, because you'll find yourself feeling comfortable from one side of the plate and absolutely lost sometimes from the other.
Yeah, it's really true, and you have to fight through that. Most of the time, for most of us switch hitters, you end up being a better hitter left-handed than right-handed. I think part of it is because you see so many more right-handed pitchers from the time you first start as a kid. Whatever age you start switch hitting, you're just not that many left-handed pitchers, and you really have to work at trying to keep the right-handed stroke for most of us going in some way. We see Danny Santana right now really struggling with that, hitting less than 100 right-handed.
2 strikes to Centeno. And Santana will bat next.
As I was talking with Robbie Grossman, a lot of times it depends on what made you a switch hitter in the first place too.
1 and 2.
Many of us were started out as right-handed hitters and didn't feel like we were going to be as successful against right-handed pitching as we should. And let's try going over the other side of the plate, and it turned out it would work well. So we became maybe better hitters left-handed than right, even though we were naturally right-handed hitters.
And a check of Escobar at first. And then
as I mentioned, Robbie Grossman mentioned to me that he always felt like he was a real good hitter right-handed, left-handed thrower, and decided it would be better for him to be able to hit left-handed as well.
Up high, 2 and 2. To be a switch hitter and hit with power from both sides, to me, has got to be the toughest thing to do in any sport. I don't know how you, Chipper Jones, Eddie Murray, guys like that did it. I had Chili Davis, another one, Mickey Mantle. Yep. My goodness. 2 and 2. Cano chops it. Might be a double play grounder. Cano steps on the bag, fires the first, 2 away. Base is empty now for Santana.
And the other thing about Robinson Cano, as great a hitter as he is, I don't know if people give him enough credit around baseball, well, certainly baseball, but just fans understand how good a second baseman he is. So smooth. He's underrated, I think, because of how, and it's not nonchalance. It's just smooth class out there at second base. Just looks so effortless. He's got a great arm. He's able to manifest that great throwing arm from a whip underneath. So it's perfect for a second baseman's delivery of the baseball around the infield.
I said a couple years ago, first inning, 9th inning, I don't think it matters to Cano. If you took his blood pressure, it'd be something like 80/20.
Yeah, I think his heart beats about every hour or something like that.
Swing and a miss, 2 and 1.
He just has so much confidence in his great ability and just doesn't get excited about anything, which sometimes makes him look like he's nonchalant, and it's not that at all.
Montgomery breaking some bats. He just took care of Santana in his bat, and the Twins send 3 men to the plate in the 6th. As you look at the Grand Casino story of the game.
Twins hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Miguel Sano got the Twins started with a blast in the upper deck, made it 2-0. Aoki came back in the bottom of the first with a home run, 2-1. Seattle took the lead 4-2. Nunez hit a home run, make it 4-3. Joe Mauer hit a 2-run shot to give the Twins a 5-4 lead. Twins going long ball.
Sardinas, a switch hitter, squares and takes strike one. Sardinas, then Aoki and Smith. Rogers left in there after getting the final out of the fifth. And we've got a tie ball game. Sardinas, it's his second of the year, and it's 5 apiece. Second home run for the Mariners. The Twins have hit 3, and we're even at 5.
Well, there was a breaking ball that settled kind of right in the low middle of the zone for Sardinas. And you see right here, down and right in his wheelhouse. He's been striking out on all kinds of fastballs up in the zone, both left-handed and right-handed, but that was a pretty good swing of the breaking ball there.
Here's Aoki. There's strike one. Aoki's reached all 3 times. He homered to start the ball game against Phil Hughes. Walk leading off the third, got as far as third base, and then singled in the fourth. Foul back, 2 strikes. Slashed foul. We saw Aoki get a double last night on a similar pitch and a similar swing. Oh, 0-2 from Rogers. 76 miles per hour, and it made Aoki leave the batter's box.
Yeah, just a breaking ball that he tried to overthrow a little bit, he got away from him.
Defensive swing and a 6-hopper to Dozier. One away. That'll get us to Seth Smith. Well, look almost like it was in the left-handed batter's box. So 1 down in the 6th, and now Smith 1 for 3. And a breaking ball hits Smith. Well, Rogers got the last out of the 5th, but now gives up a home run to the number 9 batter and hits Smith with 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, almost hit Aoki, and then throws the same pitch to Smith that he does plunk him with.
Cano, the batter, 0 for 2 with a walk.
He needs to find that release point on that breaking ball quickly.
Fastball off the plate. Ryan Presley pitched a good 8th inning last night.
Boy, was he good. Yes, sir.
Just starting to warm up here in the 6th inning tonight. Two and 0. Phil Hughes got 2 outs in the 5th. Left the ball game with the lead. And now the game's tied. On the outside corner, 2 and 1. breaking ball off the plate. 3-1. Nelson Cruz on deck. And Rogers might be facing his last batter here.
Well, he's got a right-hander coming up next, but then 2 left-handers, so we'll see if Taylor Rogers can get back in this account.
And a ground ball base hit past Escobar, rounding second. The ball bobbled by Grossman, and he'll throw it into second base. Second outfield bobble. I don't think it would have mattered. It looked like Smith was headed for third base anyway. But earlier Santana overran a ball. Now first and third, 1 down.
Yeah, I think this play might have been a little bit closer. Grossman got to the ball fairly quickly from where it was, hit, but he just couldn't get it in his glove.
And of course, left-handed thrower too. He might have had a shot at Smith at third base.
Yeah, I thought at the time if he fielded it cleanly that he was definitely going to go there.
Well, Paul Molitor to the mound, and now Rogers, who helped bail out Hughes, is going to need Presley to help bail him out in the 6th. Cruz coming up first and third, 1 away in a tie game. The game, 3 by the Twins. Ryan Presley last night pitched a quick 1-2-3/8, and he'll be asked to pitch in a little more ticklish situation here in the 6th. Game is tied first and third, 1 away, and Nelson Cruz the batter.
Key for Ryan Presley is throwing strikes. He had great stuff last night, throwing 95 or 96, at least on the gun here in Seattle. Had a really good curveball that he was also throwing over. If he goes strike with that kind of stuff, he's going to be really, really good. It's when he gets behind that he struggles a bit.
A high fly to short left center field. Santana makes the adjustment. Here's the throw coming to the plate, and Santana with the tag. Santana nearly ran circles around that fly ball in center, but he threw a perfect strike to Centeno. And Presley gets out of the jam on 1 pitch. they made it.
Danny Santana ended up making a terrific throw on after taking a circuitous and not great route. Cruz pops the ball up. He gets past the ball, has to come back to get it. But the result of that is it gets his momentum going toward the plate and allows him to get on top of the ball and throw an absolute strike to Centeno at the plate, who applies a nice tag. And the Twins catch and throw their way out of falling behind there. A really nice double play.
Vincent comes out of the Seattle bullpen, and you look at his numbers and you understand why the Mariners were in first place by the start of play today. Nunez will lead off the 7th in a tie game. Nunez, Dozier, and Mauer will hit here in the 7th. And 6 hits from the first 4 spots in the batting order. 6 of the 7 for the Twins tonight, and all the power. Rolled to the right side and a base hit. 3 hits tonight for Nunez as he goes to the opposite field with a leadoff single.
Eduardo Nunez stays hot. Again, his approach is in the center of the diamond. I know that the scouting report probably shows that he hits a lot of ground balls to the left side, but he'll hit the ball all over the field. And just because of the way he sets up to go at it. I was watching him take extra batting practice today, talked to him a little bit about what he's trying to do. He's a smart guy. He knows a lot about hitting. He's becoming a veteran professional hitter.
Nunez, of course, brings some speed with him to first base. Dozier 1 for 2. Flared single into right center field in the 3rd inning. Walked and scored in the 5th. Squaring to bunt, and the ball rattles away from Clevenger, but not far enough for Nunez to advance.
When you're a runner on first base, you take your secondary lead. That's the bounce off the base that you take as the pitch is approaching the plate. And if the ball looks like it's going to be in the dirt, then you're on your toes, moving towards second base. You just don't expect the ball to pop out of the fastball down the middle to pop out of the catcher's glove.
Left center field, and Aoki makes the catch. Nunez bluffs the tag, going away. And that'll bring up Mauer. As Paul Molitor about secondary leading and how it changed things for a runner, how it changed things for him when he played. If he had a catcher who would throw behind runners, and he brought up a good point. He said, you know, when you take your secondary lead, when the ball crosses the home plate area, you're balanced. You can go either way. You should really never be picked off, even though you've taken a secondary lead. You should be in plenty of position to get back to the base you started from.
With the exception of balls in the dirt, yes.
Yes.
As the ball's crossing the plate, you see the height of the ball, and that's absolutely right. You should be able to go either way, towards second or back to first. It's the secondary lead. The point of that is to get off at a distance where you're far enough where you can get to second if you see something, or you can get back to first. And so Joe's absolutely right about that. Except when the ball comes up, you see it in the dirt. You really want to be anticipating going to second.
Strike to Mauer, now a ball. Been a good night for Joe with a single and a run scored in the 1st and a 2-run home run in the 5th. Twins haven't done any running in a couple of ball games. We'll see if Nunez is asked to do something here. And just outside, 2-1. Close pitch. With Sano on deck.
Vincent doesn't know where that pitch was, nor do I. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Joe gets the call there. 3-1 count here. You can see that ball had much of the strike zone. Bert Blyleven would absolutely wanted that pitch.
And Mauer will take a walk, and now Nunez advances into scoring position. And Sano will come up with 2 men aboard. The Girls on the Run Twin Cities Spring 5K is almost here. There's still plenty of time, though, to join Fox Sports North Saturday, June 4th at Normandale Community College as we inspire girls to be healthy and confident. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events. Sano clobbered a 2-run home run in the first, was intentionally walked in the third, struck out in the fifth.
Well, Vincent likes his cut fastball, it looks like. Let's see if he'll throw one, a cutter right over the middle of the plate. Sano clobber another one.
Half swing. They appeal. Nope. Ball 1. High, but a called strike, 1-1. He's trying to retake the lead here in the 7th inning. Strike 2.
There's that little cutter right there, just a little bit on the outer part of the plate, a little bit more than Sano wanted. Here's where I'd like to see Miguel Sano think center field, think home run to center. We're trying to get out in front of this pitch to hit it to left. Just use that strength. If you want to hit the ball in the ballpark now, hit it to center field.
Foul past Butch Davis. Well, we've seen him do that. He has the power to hit a home run to all fields, but
well, what I've seen from Sano is that too many swings and misses with 2 strikes, being out in front of breaking balls and changeups, like he wants to cheat on the fastball to left field a little bit. Wait long enough to see it, hit the ball to center and right center, because we've seen him, as you say, able to do that. He doesn't have to hit this ball to left.
Foul tip, and Clevenger couldn't hang on to it. That was almost a very cheap strikeout. Sano tried to check his swing, but foul tipped it just out of the heel of Clevenger's glove. One and 2 to Sano. Toward the hole, it'll bleed through for a hit. Nunez around third. He's coming in. Now Smith juggles the ball, and Sano puts the Twins in front with a single. Sano with 3 runs batted in, 25 on the year. Might have cost him a bat, but he'll take it.
He'll absolutely take it. Got it down toward the end. Broke the bat, but strong enough to muscle it through the infield. Put the Twins back on top.
You all right?
Eduardo Nunez, great speed. Coming around third. Ooh, it looked like he pulled up just a little bit right there.
A bit of a grimace. Asked if he's all right. We'll follow that. Here is Park. And a big swing and a foul back.
Good swing at that ball. A little cutter that stayed right in the middle of the zone, and Park fouled it back.
We'll just go with the nod by Nunez as if he's okay.
Yep. I think if he's really hurt, I mean, that made me hurt just looking at what he was doing. right there,
squatting in the dugout.
Oh man, I think he's fine.
One strike to Park. Big pop up right side. Infield fly was called, but it's a foul ball, and Park's retired, 2 down. And Robbie Grossman will bat. I believe it's Shin-Soo Choo, the single season record for home runs by a player born, and it is in South Korea, 22 home runs. I think there's a pretty good bet that Park will surpass that.
Yep.
But he's in a bit of a home run drought right now.
Yeah, he's going to hit more home runs in the big leagues. I'm pretty sure it's going to take him. It's going to take him a full year of adjustment, I think. But he's going. I think he's going to be a good home run hitter.
Grossman now is a left-handed batter, takes a strike. Mauer at second, Sano at first, and Grossman is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Talking about how many RBI opportunities this 6th hitter in the lineup gets. Here's a great example, and a lot of them happen with 2 out too. Opportunity to get some really big hits from this spot.
Swing and miss, 0-2. They've scored 6. They've left 4 on so far tonight. Grossman strikes out for the 2nd time. A couple of ground ball base hits. The Twins are back in front, 6-5. Heroes here, and Thor couldn't catch a baseball and made a mess of things at the table. And June 8th is Superhero Night at Target Field. Limited number of superhero themed night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins superhero t-shirt. For every ticket purchase, the Twins will donate a Twins superhero cape to a child at Gillette Children's Hospital, and a portion of each ticket will go to Gillette Specialty Healthcare. Go to twinsbaseball.com/superhero night to learn more about the superhero theme night offer.
Wait a minute. You can't treat Captain America like that, can you?
Being escorted out of the building. Buddy Boshears on the mound, pitching to the Mariners in the 7th. Boshears called up because the Twins pretty much ran through their bullpen in the homestand. And Bosheer's called up, not his first year in the big leagues. He was with the Angels back in 2013. Pitched independent ball last year. Facing Seager to start the seventh. 1-1. Rogers did his job, at least in terms of preserving a lead in the fifth. Gave up the home run, ran into some trouble in the sixth. Presley threw one pitch, got 2 outs, and now Bosheers. Popped up, short left. And Grossman comes in, 1 away. And that'll bring up Adam Lind. Lind being called back to the dugout, and Lee, who we just showed on a graphic, will hit for Lind in the seventh inning. Lee started last night. Has good power.
Yeah, the Seattle folks telling us this guy can hit the ball a long ways as well.
Bosheers from Huntsville, Alabama. Just turned 28 a couple weeks ago. Foul back, 1 strike. It's been 51 days with the Angels in 2013. Fourth-round pick in the 2008 draft by the Angels. 1 strike to Lee. 2 strikes. Bosheers had a good spring training. But then the Twins organization had a good spring training. And now Bosheers gets a chance here. Get some big outs in the seventh inning.
A couple of big swings by Lee, but Bosheers has thrown the ball in good spots, and Centeno exhorting him to keep the ball down.
Check swing foul. He was with the Angels a few years ago, situational lefty. 25 games, 15 and a third innings, 13 hits. I showed you the numbers before. 2 strikes to Lee. And now a ball. Because Phil Hughes has struggled against lefties, the Mariners stocked their lineup with lefties. That's why 2 of the first 3 bullpen moves are to left-handed relievers. First Rogers, and now Bosheers, who's facing the right-handed pinch hitter. 1-2. 2-2. Right hand hitting Franklin Gutierrez on deck, and Trevor May is getting loose.
Paul Molitor will use him here in the 7th if he has to. He'd love for Bosheers to get through the 7th and start the 8th with Trevor May.
3-2.
Dangerous pitch here. They're going to try to go on the outside corner, but don't leave it over the middle.
Base hit to center. And Lee with a pinch hit. A sharp single to center with 1 out.
Yeah, got a little bit elevated in the strike zone for where Bosheers and Centeno wanted the ball. Just a little bit. Yep, it was off the plate. Pretty good job of hitting there by Lee. Strong man. He hit that ball hard off the plate. He's got a lot of extension there. Bosheers wanted it down just a little bit.
Bosheers got the lefty. He didn't get the righty, and now he'll yield to Trevor May with the tying run at first and 1 out in the 7th inning. out in the 7th inning. Before we tell you about Trevor May, in honor of Memorial Day weekend, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Merging Vets and Players, dedicated to ensuring our nation's warriors can be as productive off the field as they were on it by joining combat veterans with former athletes to form a common bond over dedication and teamwork. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn more. Trevor May, for the most part, has had a miserable month of May. He had 5 outings in a row, totaling 4 1/3 innings, and he gave up 10 earned runs. In the Kansas City series, he pitched twice. In his most recent outing, got the man he was asked to get, picking up a big strikeout. And he hopes to finish the month of May like he started it, with some effective scoreless outings. Over the inside corner, strike one.
And I really like that pitch right there. Trevor has a good fastball, 94-ish, sometimes 95, very straight. Guys know he throws hard, and hitters do, and they go up there looking for that fastball right away. He's been hurt on first pitch fastballs a lot. He's got a good breaking ball. He got ahead with one. That puts a little doubt.
High right field, and Sano back at the warning track, making the catch in front of the fence, out number 2. The roof is closed, but even on that ball, Sano had to drift at the end to make the catch, and we saw Santana have to do the same thing in the 6th inning. So you wonder whether there's some circulation here that's making these fly balls drift toward the right field corner.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some air current out there that's moving the ball around when the ball's up high in the air.
Flags are limp. 2 down, and here's Clevenger. Down and away, ball 1. I asked a Mariner official that very question tonight at dinner, and he said when the roof is open, balls tend to drift toward the right field foul pole. So a foul, but as we said, the roof's been closed all night, at least since first pitch. 1-1.
Just to continue the thought on Trevor May, he's got 3 good pitches. He's got a good fastball, let's call it 95 at top end. It can go higher than that. He's got a good curveball and a good changeup. But he's the kind of guy that tends to like to use his fastball as a blow hitters away kind of pitch. I think he needs to use all 3 of them a lot. I think he needs to mix his pitches up, because if you can get guys aware of changeup and curveball, then 94 miles an hour becomes 97 or 98 perceptibly for hitters. Then you can throw that pitch, and it looks a lot more surprising to hitters when he comes in throwing all of them. We saw that with Ryan Presley last night. We've seen that with Kevin Jepson when he's going good. Fastball, curveball, changeup, all working. I think that's what Trevor May has to be able to do too.
Foul to the screen.
For some reason, there are some guys that throw 95 or 96 and they throw the ball by hitters, and other guys throw 95, 96 and they're just not as overpowering with it. And I can't explain that. I just know that if you're not overpowering with it, then get to your secondary pitches also.
Breaking ball chopped toward third, and a foul ball. If Fernando Abad gets into the game, he'll be the 6th Twins pitcher. Phil Hughes got 2 outs in the 5th, and since then we've gone Rogers, Presley, Boshiers, and May. Manager enjoyed a nice tidy ball game last night. Starter went 7. One reliever pitched a quick 8th. Another one pitched a quick 9th. This has not been that kind of game. Called third strike with May cinching the outside corner. There hasn't been a 1-2-3 inning, and the Twins have used half the bullpen already. They lead by a run as we head to the 8th. Yeah, how about that? As the White Sox have struggled in the second half of May here. Escobar takes ball one. And of course, the shame of it all is the Twins are way back of everybody in the division. But right now, it's a great 4-team race. Escobar, Centeno, and Santana facing Vincent. 2-0. Lee stays in the game. He's at first base. Escobar is 1 for 3.
Yeah, see if he can get a low fastball here, or a little cutter down in the strike zone where he likes the ball. Down there, that's a good pitch to a low ball hitter in a 2-0 count. Looking for a fastball, throw something that looks down there where you like it. Looks like a fastball and then breaks it down and in.
Escobar with close to 150-point split, righty lefty. Same pitch, same spot, same result, 2-2. Has hit much better from the right side of the plate. And now an already exaggerated shift is even more exaggerated with 2 strikes. Third baseman Seager was playing kind of an honest third base. Inside, 3-2. Twins have had the leadoff man on in each of the last 5 innings. Centeno will bat next. And second time Escobar's done that, fouling a ball off his right leg. This one I think was a little bit higher. Earlier in the ball game, he did it off the top of his foot. This more on the shin. Oh, actually, I guess he did that as a right-handed batter, didn't he? Against Wade Miley.
Yep.
So he hit
himself in the same leg from 2 different sides of the plate.
Three and 2 to Escobar, leading off the Twins' 8th. And fouled away. Damage has been done in the top half of the Twins' batting order tonight. 1-2 in a row, scoring 7 runs in each game, 6 on the board so far tonight. That's Paul Molitor today, and that's something we mentioned in passing last night. Years ago, the Twins acquired Shannon Stewart. That group of hitters, Pierzynski, Jones, Hunter, so on and so forth, all gave Shannon credit for giving some credibility to the lineup in terms of a veteran player and giving a really good at bat time after time, game after game. This one popped up on another foul ball that'll reach the seats. So with just 7 games in a Twins uniform, I asked about just generally whether Paul believed that that can happen, and he kind of poo-pooed the idea, saying, you know, we've got a guy who really gives the Twins good at bats every night in Joe Mauer in the lineup, and so he didn't want to give Grossman too much credit, saying instead that, you know, he's just been a nice acquisition by the Twins. Escobar reacquainted with his bat. And another 3-2 pitch. Chop right side, head high hop for Lee. 1 away.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Kurt Suzuki started the game behind the plate, but in the early innings he took a foul tip off the mask. Left the game with concussion-like symptoms, but went through the protocol and passed all the tests. Centeno. Good strike. 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded out to first. And then hit a ground ball to Cano for a double play grounder in the 6th. 0-2. Two strikes to the Twins catcher. It's to the left. And Smith backpedals and makes the catch on number 2. Just remembering the Twins have 13 pitchers, which means just 3 bench players, and one of those, Trevor Plouffe, could be used in an emergency, according to Paul. Right, but they would prefer not to use him. So in reality, the Twins have a bench of Oswaldo Arcia. 2 down. Here's Santana. A walk in the 3rd, a strikeout in the 4th, and a ground ball to 2nd in the 6th. Over the inside corner, strike 1. Byron Buxton hitting nearly 400 in the month of May at Rochester. And of course, the Twins want to make sure that whenever they determine Buxton is ready, he is ready. And he'll be called up for the last time to the big league level.
Yeah, he's gone down there and changed his swing mechanics pretty drastically. He's employing a little leg kick now to get himself ready to hit. A little mini Kirby Puckett, pick the front foot up and get back on your back leg, which I think is a great move for him. But boy, I think they really want to let him solidify that new hitting mechanic in his mind, in his muscle memory, before he comes up and tries it up here again.
2-2. Nunez on deck.
See Danny get on here and steal second base for Eduardo Nunez. Hottest hitter on the club. He and Joe Mauer really swinging it well. Danny swinging it well from the left side.
And he strokes one to left field. A base hit. Santana has his first hit. And it comes with 2 outs in the 8th.
Real good at bat there by Danny, and I think he's got the green light to go. This is a perfect spot for him to get into scoring position. 2 strikes, wait on the ball, slash it to left field. That's a nice swing there. Much shorter swing, as you can see, from the left side than his right-handed swing.
Nunez with hits his last 3 times up, including a leadoff home run in the first pitch of the 5th inning. Santana was picked off after drawing a leadoff walk in the 3rd. That was with the lefty Wade Miley on the mound. 40 stolen base attempts, 31 successful ones for the Twins. Santana leading the team with 10 steals.
Hasn't got a base stealing lead yet.
Nice backhanded pickup by Clevenger. Ball 1. Foul. 1 strike and a ball. The only guy to do it, and he might do it again here tonight.
It's a good situation to have a hot hitter up with a base stealer on first base. You tend to get a lot of fastballs.
Pitch seems to be difficult. I don't know if it's a cutter.
Yep, it's a little cutter. It's got just a little movement right to left.
Grossman swung through it twice from the left side, and now Nunez has missed it twice.
It's got a little deceptive speed on it, only 85 or 86, but guys are swinging at it like it's a little harder than that.
Driven deep to the right field corner, but foul. Santana still at first after his 2-out single. Clevenger looking in the Seattle dugout. See if they want to pitch out, throw over. Base hit right field. Nunez gets his second ground ball single to right. Santana checks in at second. That'll get Dozier to the plate with 2 men aboard. 4 hits for Nunez, and 2 of them carbon copies, hard ground balls through the right side.
And again, you watch his approach in the center of the diamond, ball breaking away, slashes the ball to right field, and it doesn't matter where he hit. It doesn't matter to Eduardo where he hits it. He's going to try to hit it hard someplace on the field, anywhere on the field.
Mel Stottlemyre Jr., of course, coming to the mound. Brother Todd Stottlemyre was a really good pitcher, and his father was a brilliant pitcher with the Yankees. Vincent's given up a couple of 2-out hits here. We'll see what Dozier can get done.
I was watching Vincent's delivery to the plate. I think Danny Santana was shut down there. Vincent's move to the plate was pretty quick, and I'm sure the Twins had the stopwatch on him, determined that he delivered the ball to the catcher quick enough that it would make it difficult for Danny to steal second base. But good speed on the bases now for any ball hit to the outfield, single or better.
Here's Dozier. Swing and a miss at the fastball. Dozier with a pop fly single to right center field in the third. Strikeout, fly ball, and walk make up the rest of his night. One and one.
Got a cutter right in the middle of the plate that didn't cut much. It kind of was a spinner, and Ryan spun off of it a little bit too. You'll watch when a guy's head moves like this, when it comes off, that's generally because he's already cheated to left field just a little bit.
1-2 to Dozier. Clevenger sets up outside. Popped up. And Cano should put this in his back pocket. Close to it.
Yeah.
A couple of 2-out singles are left aboard. It's still a 1-run Twins lead. 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Trevor May, the last 2 outs of the 7th. And Sardinas will lead things off.
I'm laughing at Centeno's setup behind the plate. Evidently, he wants Trevor May to keep the ball down because he is kind of getting down there.
Literally sitting down on the ground.
Yes, he is.
2 strikes. Sardinas tied the game at 5 with a leadoff homer in the 6th. Fernando Abad ready to come in. Man, May blows him away with a 96-mile-per-hour heater, 1 away. 3 up, 3 down as far as Trevor May is concerned. Last 2 outs of the 7th and the first one here in the 8th, and that'll be the end of his night.
Good fastball there, throws it right by Sardinas, and now with 3 left-handers coming up, Aoki, Smith, and Cano. Maulders going to the left-hander.
5th reliever, Abad, coming in. Sure did his job tonight, though. Got the last 2 outs of the 7th, first of the 8th. Eduardo Nunez with a 4-hit game. Twins Flex Plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game. So don't plan, Flex Plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more. At some point, Fernando Abad's incredible run will end. But it's a weapon right now to have a left-handed reliever who has yet to give up a hit to a left-handed batter. He's faced 20 batters. 1 has reached, and that was with a walk. And he'll face Aoki and Smith, and then hopefully that'll be it.
Well, this is the way you would draw it up if you were going to make out your pitching staff roster. A left-hander that is really, really tough on left-handers in the 7th and 8th innings. Fernando Abad has been just that.
Aoki hitting under 200 against lefties. And Abad delivers up high, ball 1. Swing and a foul, and they got a piece of, I think, home plate umpire Marty Foster. Again, the Mariner lineup is constructed the way it is because Phil Hughes struggled against lefties. So now you've got this string of 3 straight left-handed hitters in a row, which allows Paul Molitor to save Abad for these critical outs he hopes to get in the 8th inning.
I think Scott Service, the manager of the Mariners, will probably pinch hit for Seth Smith. But Aoki was going to hit and Cano was going to hit. if he gets a chance. So Abad's in there for those two lefties. They're not too bad against right-handers either.
Foul to the corner. Lee's already been brought into the game. The pinch hitting options would be switch hitter Sean O'Malley, the other catcher Chris Iannetta, or Stephen Romero, who was just called up yesterday. One and two. Abad to Aoki. And Centeno with a block. 2-2. Homered against Hughes, leading off the first. Walk, single, and ground out in 5. Romero's in the on-deck circle.
Yep, Romero's come out in the on-deck circle. A hit for Seth Smith. This is a big out. You want to get 2 outs before you get to the right hand.
Slow breaking ball. It's lifted to center. Santana streaking in to make the catch, out number 2. Santana.
Watch the jump he gets right here. And he can close too. That's the one thing about Danny. He's got that terrific speed, and he can close on the ball. Almost overran that one too.
Romero will hit for Smith, who had gone 1 for 3 with a walk. Romero 0 for 3 in the game last night with 2 strikeouts. And a first pitch strike. On the other side of it, of course, Abad has given up a .275 average. We showed you that against right-handers. 11 hits, 40 at bats. And 1-1.
One thing I like about Abad, I really like the fact that he's willing to throw any of his pitches just about any time. Drop that big curveball over for strike 1, which is a good pitch. You throw it, change up at different speeds anytime.
And that ball skips under the glove of Nunez and will go all the way to the corner. Romero to second base. Nunez put the glove down to backhand it, but the ball beat him to the ground. Got under his glove for a double, I presume.
Well, they would probably give him a double on this ball. It's a ball that Eduardo Nunez knows that he should have had. He wants to field this ball right here. He's going to believe he should catch this ball.
Playing no doubles defense.
He's right there. He just didn't catch it.
They do give him a double, but that's a play that Nunez would tell you he should have made.
Yep.
So the tying run at second, 2 down, and Robinson Cano will bat. Cano with a walk and a single in the ball game tonight. Cano hitting .247 against left-handed pitching. Ball 1.
He just misjudged it.
Now Abad will try to keep his hitless string against left-handed batters alive. Missing inside, 2-0. Dangerous right-handed batter Nelson Cruz hits behind Cano. Hitting the corner, 2-1.
Cano didn't like the call, telling Marty Foster it wasn't a strike.
2-1 to Cano. 3-1. Cruz on deck. Scalded to Dozier. And Abad cleans up the 8th inning, giving up a 2-out double, but stranding him aboard. The Twins still lead by 1. There haven't been many wins for the Twins this year. Certainly not many comfortable wins. Last night was the closest thing the Twins had to a comfortable win, and now they're trying to pull out a nail biter and extend a late May winning streak to 3 games. Steve Cishek, the closer for the Seattle Mariners, in a non-save situation, will pitch to Mauer, Sano, and Park.
Cishek's been good. He's got good stuff. Comes from the side. It's an unorthodox delivery. Good fastball, breaking ball.
Cishek with more than 30 saves in back-to-back years with the Marlins, and then he had a bad year. Kind of reestablished himself last year with the Cardinals as a setup guy. Romero stays in the game and takes over in left field. Now he's back as a closer for a contending team. Mauer takes a strike, 1-1.
You see that sidearm delivery and the movement that he gets on the fastball. The ball started off about the middle of the plate and moved to the outside corner. Here comes a breaking ball. He's going to try to throw with the back foot.
Off the plate, 2-1.
Missed completely on the other side of the plate.
Mauer's reached 3 times. Singled and scored in the first, 2-run homer in the 5th, and walked in the 7th. Three and 1.
Joe swinging that really well. He's going to get a fastball here, 3-1. See if he can hit a double to left center.
The line might have hit Mauer's front leg.
Yep.
3-2.
I'm thinking left center for Joe, especially now with 2 strikes. But even on that 3-1 pitch, when he knew a fastball was coming, that ball's moving away from him. He's good at staying through the ball, hitting the ball that way. think for sure he's going to be set up to hit the ball that way now with 2 strikes. Yeah, a lot of movement on that fastball right there.
I'll bring up Sano.
You watch this. Comes from the side, ball spinning sideways, and really nasty movement. Hitters would rather you threw 5 miles an hour harder than have that kind of movement. 97 and straight's easier than 93 with the ball moving a foot and a half.
Sano with a 2-run home run in the first, and then a broken bat RBI single give the Twins the 6-5 lead in the 7th. 1 strike. 0-2.
Yes, he did.
Right off the end of the bat. He hung a breaking ball to Sano and got him out. 2 down. Take a look at what's next. Brought to you by Century Link. Ricky Nolasco will pitch for the Twins tomorrow against young, talented Taijuan Walker, who has got the opposite kind of season going for him than Wade Miley, who had 5 wins in a row with an ERA of 4.5, and Walker has pitched much better than Miley, but he doesn't have the wins to show for it.
The young man's got really good stuff. Throws hard. Strikes out about a hitter per inning.
Park 0 for 4. 1-1. Kevin Jepson's warmed up, ready to come in. He'll have to pitch through the middle of the Seattle batting order. Grounded to short. And the Twins go down 1-2-3 in the 9th. Jepson will try to protect a 1-run lead when we come back. Lead things off for the Mariners in the bottom of the 9th against Twins closer Kevin Jepson. Talked earlier about Trevor May's struggles in the month of May. Jepson's had just about as bad a month of May as Trevor May has, but he had a clean outing his last time out against the Kansas City Royals. Picked up his 4th save, gave up a hit, but he got the 3 outs needed. And he will face Cruz, Seager, and Lee.
Well, we'll see if Kevin can find that strike zone right from the very first pitch. Fastball, curveball, changeup. He has not been able to command the curveball and the changeup the way he did last year when he was so successful. really sets up a nice fastball, and vice versa. Those other 2 pitches, if he has those, he's really, really tough. If not, it's been a struggle.
Cruz is 0 for 4. And in his lifetime against Jepson, 1 for 9, and Jepson has struck him out 5 times. And again, the Twins in the no doubles defense. That means the outfield playing deep all the way across, and Nunez, who saw a ball skip under his glove in the 8th inning, will try to make sure that doesn't happen in the 9th. Fastball, 95 and strike 1.
That's what you like to see from your closer. Come right out throwing strikes.
Again, Centeno sitting on the ground. A high fastball gets strike 2. Cruz struck out in the 1st. Pop up in the 3rd, and a couple of fly balls to Santana in the 6th and 5th. Did he go? Santana with a block, no swing, 1 and 2.
There's the curveball right there. Good movement, good downward spin on that curveball, just not anywhere close to the strike zone. If it was anywhere close, it had enough movement to strike Nelson Cruz out, but he just hasn't had the feel of that curveball yet this year consistently.
1 and 2. There it is. No swing. That was a better curveball.
Yep.
But Cruz was still able to check his swing. 2 and 2. Yep, he checked. Now 2 and 2 to Cruz. Driven to deep right. Sano in the corner. No catch, a foul ball. Sano reached for it. Should have had it, but he didn't catch it. And Cruz's at bat is still alive. Sano had it in the glove. Centeno out.
Yeah, I think that's a really good trip to the mound right there by Centeno. Go out there to Jepson and say, never mind that. Your man should have had that ball. But come right back and make a good pitch right here.
What we saw earlier when Buxton was still with the team, Danny Santana used as a defensive replacement in situations like this. But as it is, the only replacement for the Twins is Arcia. 2 and 2. And now 3 and 2 with Seager on deck. It was 0 and 2. Now it's 3 and 2. Walking. And Cruz is aboard, leading off the 9th. Seager with 2 singles tonight. He's faced Jepson 8 times, and Jepson's walked him 4 times. 1 for 4 in at bats. Jepson's had a tough time throwing strikes to Seager. Nunez asks for time. The Mariners rather have Sean O'Malley pinch running for Cruz. O'Malley will round second. Sano's throw skips to Nunez, and the tying runs at third with nobody out. That'll bring up Lee. Cruz had the long plate appearance, drew the walk, and Seager jumped on the first pitch.
Yeah, low fastball to a good low fastball hitting left-hand hitter, as most left-handers are. They like the ball down there. Not a bad pitch, but Seager's a good hitter, and in particular those balls down there.
Lee entered the game as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and singled. Twins have the infield about halfway in here.
Can really use a strikeout right here. Figure out how to get past this guy with a strikeout.
Blocked by Centeno, and then he had to work his way around Lee to pick up the baseball. That's not a small task. Lee's a tough guy to work your way around.
Nice block there. Good, good technique.
One's got some help from home plate umpire Marty Foster, it looked like. 1-0.
Just hasn't had the feel for that pitch, and it really, really hamstrings him. It's such a good pitch when he's throwing it for strikes, and it makes it tougher to make good pitches with his fastball as well, because he knows he has to be. Hitters tend to be looking for the fastball. He knows he has to be fine with it.
Dangerous pitch. 2-0 to Lee. Well, you can imagine Seager in the on-deck circle during the Cruz at bat, and watching Jepson struggle throwing the breaking ball for a strike, and so Seager's figuring, well, I'm going to get a fastball.
Absolutely.
And look what happened.
Absolutely. Everybody on the bench is watching what the pitcher's got, but it's the closer, and can he get anything else over but the fastball? If not, there's nothing to wait on. You just gear up.
2-1. Breaking ball on the corner. 2-2.
That's a great pitch right there. That's the one he wants. That's what he's been trying to find, and that just buckled his knees. Watch this. He was all about the fastball right there, and now this will put a doubt in his mind. This makes this, if he wants to throw a fastball here, it makes it, that curveball makes it better.
2-2. Breaking ball, short right field. Sano comes in, catch, and they'll hold him with the throw coming through to Centeno. Manny Acta froze O'Malley at third, and Sano came up with a strong throw on the fly.
Yeah, the ball too short, especially with an arm like Sano has, with nobody out. You're going to get one out here. You still have an opportunity to get a sacrifice fly. That's too short on the first out to send the runner.
Gutierrez with 2 singles. Gutierrez 1 for 9 against Cruz over the years with 4 strikeouts. Or against Jepson, I should say. Breaking ball on the outside corner again. Every bit as good as the one he threw.
Yes, sir. What a great time to find it. 2 really good breaking balls in a row there. That's got to give Kevin Jepson a real shot of confidence in both his fastball and his curveball.
One strike to Gutierrez. Breaking ball at strike 2. 3 really good breaking balls in a row from Jepson. Nice stop by Centeno. They throw to second. Now delayed steal. They need to watch the runner at third, and now they flip back over to third. Got him. That was second.
Another one.
Got him, and the game is over.
What a way to end the game. Terrific defensive play.
Twins will be told to stay on the field to challenge one or the other. Now the Mariners cannot challenge both outs. They can challenge one, but not the other. The runners are staying on their bases. And the Mariners, of course, have nothing to lose here. And they will look with Dozier, an off-balance but strong throw. And which base do you challenge here? That's a nice throw by Dozier.
Yeah, that's a terrific play.
I think he's out at third,
yeah.
and I think he's out at second. But again, you have to pick which base you want to challenge here. It's one play. And
looking at the replay, I picked second base.
They are challenging second and not third base.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I would challenge.
Mike Winters is the crew chief. He's on the left. And what an unlikely way for this game to end, and one of the weirdest saves of Kevin Jepson's career if
this stands.
If it stands.
Well, Brian Dozier made one sensational play of that first and third rundown. That's such a hard play for the defensive player to make, running the runner back. You know you have to get an out, but you absolutely may not let that runner on third base score.
Out at third.
Out at second.
And the game is over.
That's some defense for you right there.
What a finish for the Twins.
A great play by Brian Dozier, a great throw, a great tag by Eduardo Nunez, and a great throw from him to second base, and great tag by Escobar. Kevin Jepson deserves that one. Good for him.
He picked a great time to throw probably the three best breaking balls he's thrown.
You bet.
All year long.
You bet. That man right there made one sensational defensive play. And a great tag by Eduardo Nunez, just all the way around. Just terrific.
Tom Hanneman, an odd finish to the game, but boy, what a wonderful way for the Twins to win a ball game with the Mariners running into a delayed double steal, double play to finish the game.
Are we in headset?